This week in personal training, I'm going to talk about 3 things that I've been wrong about in my personal training career. I got a big secret. I've been wrong about a lot of stuff in my career. Yeah. The good news is I've been in this industry long enough to realize it. So today I just want to cover just 3 of the many things that I've been wrong about in my career. So let's start with number 1, belly breathing. What I was wrong about was that belly breathing is the goal. And the reality is that belly breathing is not the destination, but a pit stop for some people. So when I first started learning about breathing, my biggest first initial takeaway, to really put things simple, is this is bad. So, belly breathing, calmly expanding front, side, back, below the chest, not having shoulders go up, not using neck accessory muscles, is good. I mean, it makes sense, right? Breathing all up in your throat and using your shoulders to breathe, that high threshold breathing, hollowing through the midsection, the lower abdomen is bad. So breathing lower into your body will help stabilize. It makes sense. And that's kind of true. So if someone does breathe with their shoulders and their neck and all those non-breathing muscles, then that is when belly breathing is a good pit stop. So just like a lot of things, we want to kind of go a little past neutral to kind of get somebody to get the opposite feels of what they're used to on the way to building the ideal pattern or the ideal movement or the ideal whatever. So I still think it's a good idea if someone has that type of breathing pattern to work on getting the breath lower into the abdomen, but that's not the end goal. The end goal is to get breath into the entire lower body, lower part of the abdomen, in the front, the sides, the back. But I definitely did not emphasize or understand the importance of rib cage expansion, which when in retrospect sounds ridiculous. But along with the lower body expanding, the rib cage needs to expand laterally. The rib cage needs to expand in the front and back as well. And if we get into a belly breathing pattern, then that can sometimes limit us from being able to get that rib cage expansion that we need for an actual proper breathing function. So although it might be good to work on belly breathing in certain situations, that's not ideal functional breathing. It can be a pit stop on the way to learning actual functional breathing, but when it comes down to it, full rib cage expansion, full lower body expansion is the goal. Number 2 is kind of on the same lines, but not at all. It's weight on the heels. So weight on the heels is not the destination, it's a pit stop. A lot of times when people are squatting, lunging, whatever lower body exercise that you choose, they'll be way up on their toes, heels popping up. They don't have good heel contact. So when you cue that person to get into better form of that exercise, a lot of times trainers will say to put your weight on your heels, which a lot of times get better glute activation or posterior chain involvement. It cleans up the exercise. It makes it a whole lot better. And that's good. But that's not the end of the continuum. Getting weight on the heels is not where we want to live our lives. We want to make sure that whenever we're working on those lower body exercises, that if someone is on their toes, we get them to their heel. But then, kind of like the breathing thing, we're taking it kind of the opposite direction of what they were doing. So if they're on their toes a lot, we're putting them on their heels a lot. But then we eventually want to load the whole foot evenly. We want to make sure we have heel contact, big toe knuckle contact, pinky toe knuckle contact, all three of those points in the tripod foot, and then a nice even weight distribution over your entire foot, not just driving through the heels. So although driving through the heels might get some more posterior chain involvement, it's not necessarily the athletic way of doing that exercise. So I'll still coach people to put their weight on their heels, but it's just a temporary cue that's leading them into understanding better foot positioning, better weight distribution on their foot, and then eventually getting them to use their foot better. And the third mistake that I want to talk about today is correcting valgus, that's the knee collapsing in, by telling people to push their knee out. Because pushing the knee out, and I'm going to talk specifically about the split squat for this example. Pushing the knee out is not as cool as aligning the pelvis. So earlier in my career, when I would see someone lowering themselves down on the eccentric on a split squat and they would go into valgus, I would say, push your knee out, because we want to make sure we align your knee with your toe. But what I didn't really realize what was happening was maybe I was aligning the knee with the toe, but that's not aligning the toe and the knee and the hip. So most of the time when people have that knee caving in, it's because the pelvis is rotated. So instead of telling someone to push their knee out with a rotated pelvis, it's a whole lot cooler to just have them straighten out their pelvis, which pulls the hip back, which pulls the knee into a good position, which eliminates the valgus in the first place and creates better alignment. So I think as a early trainer, it just makes sense. But then as you get deeper and deeper into looking at people and learning more, it's just kind of like that next level of learning. And those are just three things that kind of popped in my mind this week of some of the smaller but yet bigger things that really matter. Like, those are some coaching cues that, we're honestly steering people down the wrong track. So sticking with education over the years and just getting reps has helped me to see how the body moves differently and understand things a little bit better. And if you are new to coaching or just haven't seen these things, hopefully my 18 years of being a personal trainer and 18 years of making mistakes can help you eliminate some mistakes or become a better trainer today. Also this week, I got a new client who's an old friend and a former personal trainer. Kind of the inspiration behind this video. Talking with him about old stuff has helped me realize some of the things I've learned about over the years. But anyway, he has agreed to let me film his training sessions and talk about his assessments and my programming, the rationale behind what I'm picking, and kind of film his training sessions and document how that goes over the course of time so we can see how that works. So I'm not going to wait till the end to make sure it ends up good and then post it. I'm just going to start posting stuff now. So I saw him today, and this video that I'm filming today is coming out tomorrow. And yeah, if I failed, you'll all see it. So maybe I'm throwing myself under the bus, maybe I'm throwing him under the bus, but mostly I'm just hoping to be able to put out some good content that some people can learn from, and most importantly also, well, not most importantly, but also I'll learn from, because I'm going to make mistakes. I make mistakes every day, and I think that this is a good way to kind of put some stuff out there, see the mistakes I'm making now, learn from them, and become a better trainer. And I know that there's a lot of people out there that can help me learn as well. So I'm doing this not only to be a teacher, but to be a lifelong learner, and I want to make these videos so I can learn, you can learn, and we can all learn together. More than I'm doing this for monetary gain. So I'm really doing it because I like to talk to trainers, and hopefully doing these case studies will spark some conversation that we can all learn from. So next week I'm gonna start to share some of the things that I found in the assessment and talk about his first program and go from there. I've really been enjoying making this content, and I hope you've been enjoying it too. If you're getting anything out of it, please let me know. Makes me feel good. See you next week.